Your aging cat is pulling away, and the hidden psychology behind that withdrawal could save your bond before it breaks. A behavioral test awaits at the very end of this video that will reveal exactly where your cat sits on the trust spectrum right now. Everything you thought you knew about an old cat slowing down is incomplete. The yawning, the retreating, the distant eyes. Science tells a far more complex story, and it starts long before the gray fur appears. Most people look at an aging cat and see a body running down, a machine losing horsepower. They increase the food, soften the bed, maybe add a warmer blanket, and then wonder why the distance between them keeps growing. Here is the hard truth. What you are witnessing is not physical decline dressed in fur. It is a psychological reset. A total restructuring of how your cat experiences every room, every sound, every relationship, including you. Think about that word. Reset, not crash. Not failure. Reset. Neuroscientists studying feline aging have found that the aging cat brain undergoes changes shockingly similar to what happens in early human Alzheimer's disease, including the accumulation of beta-amyloid protein deposits between neurons, the same pathological signature found in human dementia research. Pure biology. No metaphor required. Your cat's brain is being quietly rewritten. The map they built over years, the one that told them where the sunlight hit the floor at 2 p.m, where you always sat, how your footsteps sounded different from a stranger's. That map is being slowly erased and redrawn in a language they no longer fully recognize. And the most dangerous thing you can do right now is misread that as indifference. Distance and disorientation are two completely different animals. A cat who does not want you behaves one way. A cat who can no longer fully locate you in the world they are still desperately trying to navigate. That looks almost identical from the outside and carries an entirely different meaning. The psychological reset happens in layers you cannot see from the outside. Internally, the architecture of familiarity begins to crack. Routines that once ran on autopilot, the morning greeting, the leap onto the bed, the exact path to the water bowl, begin to feel uncertain, unreliable, threatening even. Behavioral scientists describe this state using the acronym VISH-DAL, which tracks the signature signs of feline cognitive dysfunction. Altered vocalization, changed social interaction, disrupted sleep, house soiling, disorientation, activity changes, anxiety, and learning deficits. Every single item on that list sounds, from the outside, like rejection. Every single item is actually communication. The cat pulling away from you is not abandoning the bond. They are fighting to survive inside a mind that is losing its own coordinates. Picture this. You walk into the living room at the same time you always do. Same light, same smell of coffee, same sound of the television in the background. But your cat, who used to look up the moment your foot hit the hallway, does not move. They are sitting by the window, eyes fixed on nothing you can see. You call their name. There is a pause, too long, before they turn. You might have thought they were ignoring you. What was actually happening was something far more alarming. The invisible shift in a senior cat's daily routine rarely arrives like a storm. It arrives like a tide, slow, almost imperceptible, rewriting the shoreline before you realize the beach has moved. The first signals are behavioral microchanges. A cat who used to jump to the counter now circles it. A cat who used to sleep at the foot of the bed now disappears into the hallway at midnight. These are fractures in a daily structure the cat depended on for emotional safety. Not quirks, not personality shifts, structural fractures. Veterinary behaviorists who have documented the full spectrum of senior feline behavioral deterioration describe these changes as neurologically driven disruptions that fundamentally alter the cat's relationship with their environment. The home that once felt like a navigational certainty begins to feel ambiguous. Edges blur. Familiar scents shift. The same doorway they crossed 1,000 times suddenly requires a moment of hesitation. Stop and consider what that means emotionally. Imagine waking up one morning and finding that your living room, the one you have lived in for 12 years, looks slightly wrong. Nothing you can name, just wrong. Now add to that, the lights are dimmer than they used to be. Sensory decline in aging cats runs far deeper than needing brighter light or louder sounds. It is a comprehensive environmental distortion. Feline vision is built for motion detection and low light acuity. Their retinas contain a disproportionate density of rod cells compared to human eyes, which is exactly why they rule the dark. But aging causes the lens to harden, and the tapetum lucidum, the reflective layer behind the retina that amplifies available light, to lose efficiency. What the cat once navigated effortlessly in dim evening light now feels unpredictable and threatening. Hearing decline is equally destabilizing and arguably hits harder. Cats evolved to use sound as a primary spatial mapping tool. Their ability to rotate each ear independently, detecting sounds up to 100,000 hertz, far beyond human range, is how they build a three-dimensional understanding of every room they inhabit. When that begins to fail, the mental map built from sound starts to collapse. Gaps appear. Familiar footsteps become unrecognizable. The house that once felt known now carries an undercurrent of the unfamiliar. And here is where the closet becomes the sanctuary. The retreat under the bed, into the dark corner of the wardrobe, behind the washing machine. Owners read that as depression. Behaviorists read it as a precise survival calculation. Researchers document a principle known as partial concealment safety. A cat whose head and shoulders are hidden under a towel genuinely perceives itself as invisible to threat. The evolutionary logic is ancient and unbroken. If I cannot see the danger cannot see me. When the entire world becomes unreliable, the confined space becomes the only reliable thing left. Your cat is not hiding from you. They are hiding from the version of the world that no longer makes sense. Tell us below, what is your cat's name and how old are they? Because what comes next is going to change how you see every single moment they have spent in that corner. In the wild, a sick lion gets abandoned. A wounded wolf gets left behind. Colony mathematics. The survival of the group prioritized over the survival of the compromised individual. And somewhere deep inside your domesticated companion, millions of years of evolutionary code still run that exact same calculation. This is called the terminal preservation instinct, and it is one of the most misunderstood forces in feline psychology. Domestic cats are descended from the African wildcat, Felis libica, a solitary ambush predator whose survival depended on the absolute concealment of any vulnerability. Unlike wolves, who live in social hierarchies where a wounded member can be protected, the wildcat had no such safety net. Weakness, displayed openly, meant death. So the genetics did something extraordinary. They built a biological mask directly into the nervous system, an instinctual suppression of outward pain signaling so complete that veterinary professionals have given it a formal name, the mask of wellness. Here is where the science gets almost uncomfortable. A radiographic study of 100 cats found that 92% had objective evidence of degenerative joint disease. 92%. Yet the owners of the vast majority of those cats reported no visible signs of pain. The cats were moving, they were eating, some were even playing, performing normal behavior as a survival signal to anyone watching, including you. Do not hear the word deception and feel betrayed. Your cat is not lying to you. Their nervous system is filtering the signal before it ever reaches conscious behavior. The mask is not worn. It is grown into the biology itself. It is structural, involuntary, and millions of years old. If you recognize any of this, hit the like button now. Because what most owners never learn is that the mask works so well, it often breaks only once. The silence of sickness in aging cats is the space between the mask and the moment it finally slips. And by the time most owners see the visible signs, dramatic weight loss, refusal to eat, inability to climb, the underlying condition has often been active for months, sometimes more than a year. Veterinary research documents that osteoarthritis, the most common driver of behavioral change in senior cats, is frequently concurrent with chronic kidney disease in a significant portion of cases. Two systems failing simultaneously behind a perfect biological poker face. Watch for the subtle version of the slip. The hesitation before jumping down from a low surface, the slight widening of the eyes when they land, the way they lick their paws immediately after. a self-soothing response that signals discomfort the rest of their body refuses to announce. These are the cracks in the mask, and they appear long before the collapse. Routine veterinary screening for senior cats is not optional. It is a translation service. The vet is not checking a healthy animal. The vet is reading a language your cat was genetically built to suppress from you. And here is the deeply uncomfortable implication. The cat who seems fine probably is not. The cat who seems distant may be managing a pain load you cannot imagine. The cat hiding in the closet may be doing the single most biologically logical thing available to them. Understanding that does not diminish your bond. It reveals the depth of what your cat is navigating. Long before the visible signs appeared, something quieter was already shifting. Your cat's relationship with their home territory, the specific geography of scent, texture, and spatial memory that defines their identity, was slowly being dismantled from the inside. Cats do not simply inhabit a space, they author it. Through a process called scent mapping, felines deposit pheromones from facial glands, paw pads, and flank glands across every surface they own. Every surface rubbed with their cheek is a sentence in the story of how this space belongs to them, how it connects to them, how it keeps them safe. The scent map is, functionally, an emotional nervous system for the home, invisible to you and absolutely essential to them. When olfactory decline begins in senior cats, and it begins earlier than most owners notice, that autobiography starts to fade. Surfaces that once carried a clear chemical signature of belonging become neutral. And neutral in a cat's psychological architecture reads as unknown territory. Unknown territory triggers threat assessment. This is why an aging cat will sometimes stand in the middle of a room they have lived in for a decade and appear confused, not because they have forgotten the room, but because the chemical story that made it theirs has grown too faint to read. Food becomes a casualty of this same process. Cats rely on scent far more than taste to evaluate palatability. When olfactory acuity drops, a food bowl that was appealing 3 months ago becomes flavorless, unrecognizable, or simply inert. Owners call it pickiness. Behaviorists call it olfactory failure, presenting as appetite loss. Pay attention to that distinction. It matters more than almost anything else in this video. Now layer feline cognitive dysfunction on top of that olfactory disruption. Research confirms that feline cognitive dysfunction affects over 55% of cats aged 11 to 15 years, with that number climbing to over 80% in cats aged 15 and older. By the age of 13, nearly all studied cats displayed at least one measurable sign of cognitive dysfunction. The brain changes are neuropathologically parallel to Alzheimer's disease. Beta-amyloid plaques, tau protein hyperphosphorylation, brain atrophy, a biological process that progressively strips the cat of cognitive landmarks. The nighttime vocalization that breaks your heart at 3 a.m. is not random. It is a specific, clinically documented symptom of disrupted circadian rhythm driven by neurodegeneration. The disrupted sleep-wake cycle in cats with cognitive dysfunction is caused by a deterioration of the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the brain's internal clock mechanism, that progressively loses its ability to synchronize the cat's physiology with day and night. Your cat is not crying for attention. They are crying because, in that moment, they genuinely do not know where they are, what time it is, or whether the world they woke up in is safe. They are calling for a signal. They are calling for you. The world did not disappear for your aging cat. It compressed. This is the most important reframe in this entire video, and it is the one thing that will change how you move through your own home. As sensory decline and cognitive dysfunction advance, the senior cat instinctively narrows their operational territory to the area they can still reliably perceive, scent map, and navigate with confidence. What used to be the entire apartment becomes one hallway. What used to be one hallway becomes a single room. What used to be a single room becomes one specific corner, usually the one where your scent is the strongest. Smaller world, sharper focus. Every square inch of that corner carries more emotional weight than the whole house did before. The scientific framework behind this behavior is called territory compression, and it represents the cat's neurological attempt to maintain a coherent internal map, even as the mapping hardware decays. The compressed zone becomes their entire emotional universe, the place where input is predictable, where the smell is known, where the textures underfoot have been memorized. Expanding outside that zone is not laziness. It is genuinely overwhelming. Here is what that looks like practically. Your elderly cat who now refuses to climb to their old favorite perch, their brain no longer has reliable depth perception data to calculate that jump safely. The cat who presses themselves into the corner of the couch rather than the center is choosing the edge because edges provide tactile information. The feel of the armrest against their flank is a spatial anchor in a world that has lost some of its other anchors. Try this. Notice where your cat chooses to sleep right now. Wherever that is their current entire world. And inside that world, you are the most powerful object in the room. Not because of food, not because of warmth, though both matter, because of scent. The secure base effect, a concept adapted from human attachment theory and applied to feline-human bonding research, describes how a cat experiencing stress uses the familiar scent and presence of their primary attachment figure as a navigational reference point. Your smell is a landmark. Your breathing, even when you are asleep, is a signal that the environment is stable. Your stillness communicates safety to a nervous system that is perpetually scanning for threat. The single most powerful thing you can do for an aging cat is radically simple. Be present without agenda. No petting they did not request, no repositioning, no picking up. Just occupy the same space, sit near them, breathe near them. Let your scent do the work that language cannot. Gentle environmental adjustments reinforce this. Lower the food and water to floor level so no jump is required. Place a litter box on every floor. Use a nightlight near their compression zone to support the failing tapetum. Keep scent continuity. Avoid changing detergents, rearranging furniture, or introducing new animals without a graduated scent introduction protocol. These decisions are architectural. They extend the cognitive life of your cat's emotional map in ways no supplement can replicate. Here is something that science cannot fully measure, but that every person watching this video already knows. There is a moment, and if you have lived with a senior cat, you have had it, when all the biology, all the neurodegeneration, all the evolutionary mask and the instinctual withdrawal suddenly pauses, and your cat looks at you, not through you, not past you, at you, with full, unmistakable recognition. And in that second, every ancient survival instruction gets overridden by something that did not arrive from the wild. That is the bond expressing itself in the only language that crosses the species barrier cleanly: presence. Research on feline attachment confirms that cats do form secure attachment relationships with their primary caregivers, relationships that function neurologically as emotional safe harbors. The aging cat who retreats into a corner is not retreating from you. They are retreating toward the last coherent signal in their world. And if that corner happens to be where your pillow is, where your clothes are folded, where the armchair holds 12 years of your scent, they have not pulled away from you. They have collapsed their entire world down to exactly where you are, a solitary predator surrendering their independence to stay close to you. Think about what that actually means. If this video has changed something in how you see your cat right now, subscribing to Mindful Felines means you will never again misread a signal they are trying to send. Every senior cat owner needs this channel in their corner. Now, the behavioral test. This is called the Voluntary Proximity Test, and it takes 60 seconds. Do not initiate contact with your cat. No calling, no clicking, no treats. Sit on the floor, not on furniture, and simply lower yourself to their level. Place one hand flat on the floor, palm down, fingers relaxed. Look gently to the side, not directly at them. Wait 30 seconds without moving. If your cat approaches and sniffs your hand without you initiating, your bond is the dominant signal in their world, even now. Their survival instinct has been superseded by trust. If your cat does not approach but turns to orient their body slightly toward you, they are acknowledging your presence as safe without full engagement, a healthy boundary response from a cat managing sensory or cognitive stress. Both are valid, both are good. Neither is rejection. Watch what happens. It will tell you more in 30 seconds than a year of worried observation. Your cat did not pull away from you. They moved toward the only thing still certain in an uncertain world. They moved toward the version of home that still made complete sense. they move toward you. Love them through the compression. Love them through the confusion. Love them through the 3 a.m. crying and the empty stare and the untouched food bowl. Because the bond you built over all those ordinary years is the most extraordinary thing they have left. That bond is enough. You are enough.